Greetings. As the first session of the 113th Congress comes to an end, I want to take a few minutes to recap some of the legislative initiatives that I've been working on this year in the House of Representatives. You know, like most Americans, 5th District residents remain focused on three key issues. There's our budget crisis, job creation, and the constitutional role of the federal government. So as a member and a senior member of the House Budget Committee, a subcommittee chairman on the House Financial Services Committee, and chairman of the Constitution Caucus, I'm proud to say I offered sensible solutions to each one of these pressing needs. Unquestionably, our federal budget process is broken. As it stands right now, it grossly distorts the breadth and scope of our spending-driven debt crisis by failing to report all the costs incurred by the federal government. So you might be wondering, how can we expect to confront our exploding debt if we can't accurately account for all the taxpayer liabilities already on the books? So I have thought about some of this, and Congress needs to start being honest with the American people about our financial woes. And so this is why I reintroduced the Budget and Accounting Transparency Act this year. See, my bill would bring undocumented taxpayer liabilities out from the shadows to accurately reflect the depth of our country's financial troubles. The simple truth is that we can't get our economy back on track until we know what's holding us down. So getting our economy back on track starts with a budget, and it maintains with a smart policy to follow that. With more than 11 million Americans out of work, I continue to support policies that liberate job creators from unfair and burdensome government red tape, that eliminate job-destroying taxes, so that small businesses and owners can reinvest into their businesses, and that can help New Jerseyans with big ideas to achieve their dreams. You know, as founder and chairman of the House Constitution Caucus, I believe we need to advocate for limited government to protect individual liberty as intended by our founders and prescribed by our Constitution. Accordingly, let me share one constitutional issue that I worked on this past year. Like many Americans, you may be unaware that the reach of the TSA extends far beyond our nation's airports and into every conceivable mode of transportation. See, the TSA's Visible Intermodal Prevention and Response Program, or VIPER, has conducted literally thousands of unannounced and random sweeps of mass transit locations, on ferry terminals, and highways on the grounds that such actions serve as a deterrent to terrorism. These teams can appear virtually anytime and anywhere to subject citizens to a search of their person and their property. Yet, by the TSA's own account, these random searches have done very little to make the American people any safer. After VIPER teams have conducted over 9,000 operations, including random truck and bus inspections on a Tennessee highway, the Los Angeles Times revealed in a December 2011 report that TSA officials say they have no proof that these roving VIPER teams have foiled any terrorist plots or thwarted any major threat to public safety. This is not security, this is security theater. So, to rectify this, I authored the Freedom of Travel Act. My legislation would protect the Fourth Amendment rights of citizens by denying the TSA the authority to conduct random searches of surface transportation passengers. You know, as free men and women, we must combat the notion that law-abiding citizens are at all times subject to be searched by their government. The Fourth Amendment is not just a limitation on government action, but rather a fundamental component of the principle of liberty that contributed to American independence. I believe that Congress should focus on ensuring that the TSA continues to secure our nation's civil aviation network rather than expanding their scope to operations to activities that are more appropriately held by local enforcement agencies at various levels of government. So, at the start of last Congress, I was honored to be named the chairman of the Financial Services Subcommittee on Capital Markets and Government-Sponsored Enterprises. From this position, my top three priorities have been promoting healthy and dynamic capital markets to ensure a robust economic growth and job creation, and conducting robust and rigorous oversight of executive branches and their agencies, and reforming our nation's housing finance system, and also removing taxpayer exposure as well. You know, too many families in New Jersey's 5th District, and across America as well, continue to struggle in this economy. Daily, I hear from folks like yourself who are hungry for that common sense reform that finally helps us get our economy back on track. Consequently, one piece of legislation that I am especially pleased to have gotten passed this year was the SEC Regulatory Accountability Act. My bill is simple. The cost of any new SEC rulemaking should not outweigh the benefits. So we can all agree that certain regulation is necessary. Therefore, we should also all agree that unnecessary and ill-conceived regulation that stunts economic growth and job creation should be eliminated. And so it is my sincere hope that we can build off my pro-growth bill and find similar cooperation on the literally dozens of House-passed jobs bills that are still awaiting action in the Senate. And so for a more detailed explanation of all the legislation that I've introduced this year, please go to my website. That's at garrett.house.gov. And to stay on top of my latest work in Congress, be sure to follow me on Facebook at facebook.com/RepScottGarrett. Also, if you want to chat with me on Twitter, my handle is @RepGarrett. As 2013 comes to a close, it's my prayer that God bless you and your loved ones this holiday season. And may God continue to bless the United States of America.